Assalamualaikum. This is the lecture 10 of web design and development, and in this lecture I am going to continue the discussion of cascading style sheets. Here are the lecture contents. In this lecture I am going to discuss about the responsive layout of your page, and some discussion will be about the bootstrap. So as discussed in the last slide, the responsive style is very much imperative for your applications to succeed in the current environment. So media queries or media elements define the page as per the rendering devices. So you can define your custom styles with respect to the screen sizes you are going to encounter with your web application. This can be done by identifying the users that are using your web application. For example, if your user are using applications from different devices such as personal computers and mobile phones or some tablets, you have to define the responsive style layout using the media queries. For example, this media query example presented here is suitable for two types of devices. The first media query states that it renders the image of your body background in yellow form when the minimum width of your requesting device is 961 pixels. On the other hand, the other query states that this is also a media query for screen, and it will render the style of green when you have the minimum width of 401 pixels and maximum width of 900 pixels. So this is actually the one design in a media query. However, you can incorporate a list of designs or even a list of cascading style sheets in a specific media query to render the pages as per the requesting devices. So at this moment I am going to give you a task to design a page layout, and you have a design task, and it is a website named as connection. It is a smaller version of social website. So basic functionality it has that the user can register themselves, and after the registration the user can send a text message to anybody who is registered with the website. So the user can also view the received message. So the task is a design task. That means you do not have to implement the functionality behind the sending and receiving the messages or viewing the messages. So first thing you will do is make a site map that what will be the pages and how the pages will be linked together. Then you identify the key elements for each page. For example, for the registration page, and for the text sending page, and the message viewing page. Similarly, you can group the related information into the sections. For example, for the home page, you can group the information into a login form and a registration form. In the user page, you can add the user's information and recent messages. You can create a button for the inbox, and that will contain the received messages, and outbox will contain the sent messages. And a send message or compose a message will have a button to send to direct you to a form to send message. So here is a typical layout design. For example, you can have header at the top of the image of your home page, and with the logo on the leftmost side. Then you can create a login form and then a sign up form. on the home page, and then it will be complemented with the footer. Similarly, for the user information page, you can add a horizontal bar or division for the user information with users pictures and users data, and then you can define a navigation bar presented in the dark blue color, which will contain the actions such as creating a message, inbox or outbox options, and then create a larger block for viewing the information such as received message or composing message. So you can implement using two kinds of design such as liquid design that will automatically fit to the screen using the media queries, and you can use the percentage of values to declare the height and width of section. Similarly, you can also use the fixed design that remains fixed width that does not have the effect of with the improvement in the screen size. So that was a typical example. It is not necessary that you follow the same pattern. You can create your own pattern of the application. So one important library for the creation of responsive websites is named as Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is a free front-end framework, HTML and CSS, for faster and easier web development. Bootstrap is famous for being developed with components that have the ability to follow the property of responsive design. Responsive design is about the using CSS and HTML to resize, hide, shrink, enlarge, or move the contents to make it look good on any screen. So responsive design will also allow your page to work for the computer, tablets, and mobile phones. In other words, Bootstrap is a collection of CSS classes and JavaScript functions that you get ready to use, and it will not worry about the writing code like this. For example, if you want to draw a cliff icon, you can use the number of cliff icons presented in the Bootstrap, such as, for example, this has a position relative and its display is in block, and its font family is already defined, font style and weight is defined, and some WebKit font smoothing is defined for Mozilla browser, such as grayscale will be transformed in the Mozilla. Similarly, you do not have to write many functions to actually change the responsiveness of your web pages. For example, here is a simple jQuery function that uses uh, alert method for any of the function called through a button or something, a hyperlink. And when you click on the button, the message will display, and when you click on the cross, the message will be undisplayed. So these are already built-in tools that you can use, elements that you can use in your application. One important aspect of Bootstrap is the meta viewport tag. It ensures the proper rendering and touch zooming. So width of the page to follow the screen width of the device, and initial zoom level to default zoom level of the device. So a meta tag is defined with the name viewport. The content is defined that width is equal to device width. That means the width will be any of the requesting device width. And initial scale is 1, that means your website will not be zoomed, it will be at the level 1 to 1. So user will have a better experience and will not be no need to zoom the page to view the page information. So to include the Bootstrap in your application, you will need to include 3 files. Number one is bootstrap.min.css. Then you want to include the jQuery.min.css to work with the bootstrap.min.css, and then some code about the bootstrap contained in the bootstrap.min.js. So you can either download these files, these are freely available on internet, and you can include these files in your header links. Either way, if you are connected to internet, you can use the current stable links of these files in your header file. So to link the style sheet, you can use the link tag. However, to use the script JavaScript files, you can use the script tag, and you have to specify the source attribute of your file, and that will be included in your web page. So once included, you can make use of all the functions and styles available in the CSS file. The main uh, elements of the Bootstrap is the Bootstrap Grid system, and it allows you to up to 12 columns across the page. So you can divide the container in the rows, and in each row the column with the space multiple of 12. So typical example of a page or a element design includes starts from a div, and it has the class container. Container is a uh, element which can hold other elements, and in containers usually you have number of rows such as described here, and in rows you have number of cells. Cells are described as bootstrap grids. So if you use one grid, you can use the column value of 12, and your grid will be spread across the page. And if you want to use the two column format, you can embed it with the 6 and 6, or you can do it with the 8 and 4. You can also embed it with the 9 and 3, 10 and 2, 11 and 1. So every combination is possible. Similarly, if you want to use 3 grids of equal value, you can use 4 4 4, and if you want to use all the values, you can use one scale for every grid, so that your columns so your columns will be equal in width, and it will divide your page into the 12 grids. There are many other useful features of Bootstrap which cannot be covered in lecture. Some of those I will cover here. Uh, the number one here is the tables. So there are four main classes for the tables: table, table stripped, table bordered, and table hover. As named, table will be a simple table. Table striped will be a different table from the table, and it will have some stripes on the rows. Similarly, table bordered will have bordered by predefined, and you do not have to actually define the border. And table hover is similar to when you hover on the table, it will change the color of the row. And there are five actual contextual classes such as active, success, info, warning, danger. So active, you use active class when you have clicked on some element. You use the success class when you want to show some success message such as something has been saved or delivered. You want the information message such as some pop-up that's showing some information that you have to that you have done something or system has received something. Warning is usually given when there is a slight problem with input. For example, if your input is not correct, then you can use the warning clause. Danger is usually used for deletion, such as you can see in many applications, the delete button is red. The save button is green. So these are most popularly used, and information is often presented in blue, and some warning is given in yellow. Images also have main classes. The one is image rounded. The one is image rounded, that will be rounded from the corners slightly. Then the image circle, which actually rounds the image to a degree that the image becomes a circle. And the image thumbnail actually shows the smaller image pixels on your page. Similarly, Bootstrap alerts use the same five classes. For success, you can use the success class, for formation, for warning, and for danger. So the code is presented here. You can make use of this code in your application. Bootstrap also provides you a number of buttons. The default button is white. There is a primary button, there is a success button, information button, warning button, danger button, and there is a link button that only shows the value of the text. So the code about the Bootstrap buttons is depicted here. You can make use of this code as well. Bootstrap provides you a number of glyph icons that you can use in your application. So Bootstrap provides about 260 glyph icons from the glyph icons offering set, and you can use these variety of images and even more images you can download and add in your glyph icon set. Similarly, Bootstrap provides you same kind of labels for default, primary, success, information, warning, and danger labels, and you can use this code to view the effect on the Bootstrap labels. Bootstrap also provides you some themes and templates. So for example, for web application, SPL admin 2 template is downloaded for, and it is appropriate. It has forms, tables, charts, and other useful components. So you can download such kind of template or theme for your application, and this represents the desktop version. And if you resize your diagram, so your screen to a iPad version, you will get the similar view in this form. So you do not have to worry about the actual conversion behind the scene. You just have to add the bootstrap and tell it to that you want to use media queries with respect to your application. So you can experiment with the bootstrap, and you can download the code of bootstrap and look at the different classes, and you can also look at the grids. You can look at the glyph icons to view how your elements are structured in your web application using Bootstrap. You can use the different sources such as chapter 7 to 9 to learn about CSS, and you can use W3 schools, or you can use the YouTube for experimenting more with the Bootstrap. Very much. If you have any question, you can ask me through any of the designated channels, or you can conduct a question and answer session.